Hello everyone. So I welcome all of you to this session of mine, and in this particular session we will be covering GS paper, we'll be covering GS paper 5 basically, which is paper 6, and we will be covering those aspects of this paper which include Assam history and Assam art and culture. As you all know that we had also conducted a full length test, and these sessions are discussions of the questions which were being asked as part of the full length test. So on that note, let's get started. So so this was the very first question. Okay, this was the very first question from this section which was being asked. Give an account of the deep influence of the teachings of Sri Aniruddha Dev on the Matak community of Assam, and the question was of 10 marks. Now, how do you need to begin the answer to this question? See, Sri Aniruddha Dev, he plays a very important role in shaping the lifestyle, in shaping the day-to-day activities of the Matak people. So to cut a long story short, Sri Aniruddha Dev enjoys a special position among the Matak community of Assam. And as you all know, Matak is the name of a tribe. Okay, Matak is the name of a tribe, and this particular answer needs to be started. It needs to be started in this particular fashion. First, you need to write about Sri Aniruddha Dev. Asalate Sri Aniruddha Dev asil kon apnaloke teneke answer to start korbo lagibo. So Sri Aniruddha Dev was the disciple of Gopal Atta. Okay, Gopal Atta. So Sri Aniruddha Dev, as we all know, he was a very famous bhakti saint of Assam. Okay, he was a very famous bhakti saint of Assam, and he was also related. Okay, he was also related with the Neo Vaishnavite movement. So after the death of Srimanta Dev, after the death of Mahaprabhu Srimanta Dev, then the Mahapurukhya, okay, the Mahapurukhya sect, or the Ekohara Nam Dharma which is started, it got divided into several subsects, okay, which we call Homhoti. And one of those Homhotis, was Kola Homhoti, and the founder of Kola Homhoti was none other than Gopal Atta. Now, see, Homhotis were basically what? Homhotis were basically subsects, and each, all the hotras in Assam, all the hotras that you see today spread located in various places of Assam, they have to have affiliation with one or the other Homhoti. So in total there are 4 Homhotis. Because the Hotra Bilakor, they have to follow the rules and regulations being laid down by the Homhotis. So now we will focus on one such Homhoti by the name of Kola Homhoti, and Gopal Atta was the founder of Kola Homhoti. Now, like I said, Hotras were affiliated to each of the Homhotis. Now, the two famous Hotras, okay, the two famous Hotras which followed the Kola Homhoti were Dihing Hotra, okay, they were Dihing Hotra and Muamara Hotra. Okay, they were Dihing Hotra and Mayamara Hotra. And see, they were Dihing Hotra and Mayamara Hotra. And the founder of Mayamara Hotra was Sri Aniruddha Dev. Okay, the founder of Mayamara Hotra was Sri Aniruddha Dev. Now, what was the USP? Okay, what was the USP of the Mayamara Hotra founded by Sri Aniruddha Dev? The USP, or the most important feature of this Hotra, was its egalitarian nature. Okay, there was no discrimination based on caste, creed, religion, etc., etc. There was no discrimination. All were considered equal in the eyes of God. So there was no discrimination in such Hotras. Okay, in this particular Hotra, in the Mayamara Hotra, even a person from the low caste could become the Hotradhikar. Hotradhikar means head of the Hotra. So these were the values. Okay, these were the values of Mayamara Hotra founded by Sri Aniruddha Dev. And these and whoever became a member, whoever became a follower of this Hotra, okay, whoever became, the moment a person became a follower of this particular Hotra, it did not matter what tribe he belonged to him. The moment after becoming a member of Mayamara Hotra, he came to be known as Matak. So there were various tribes. For example, there was the Ahom tribe, there were Sutiyas, there were Kosaris, there were Kus, there were Rabhas. Okay, there were also some Brahmin followers of this Hotra. But the moment they became followers of Mayamara Hotra, they had to forego their earlier affiliations and they became known as Mataks, and they were united. Okay, all these followers of Mayamara Hotra, they got united with a sense of purpose. They had a common sense of purpose, and they used to share a sense of brotherhood. They had a great sense of brotherhood. Okay, they had a great sense of brotherhood. Now, these things, okay, the rules and regulations are the most important features of the Mayamara Hotra. Gradually, they got imbibed Okay, they got imbibed, or they were imbibed by the followers of the Mayamara Hotra also. And the followers, like I said, were known as Motok. So the Motok community, they picked up the teachings of Sri Sri Aniruddha Dev, and the teachings of Sri Sri Aniruddha Dev united the Motok community. Okay. Some scholars also say that the word Motok itself comes from the word, or it comes from Mot Ek. That is one opinion. Okay, Mot Ek. Mot in Assamese means opinion, so the word itself has come from Mot Ek. So anyway, now what was the effect of these teachings? So later these teachings helped the followers of the Mayamara Hotra. Okay, the followers are either known as Motoks, or you can also call them Moamorias. So it was only because of the teachings, of the broad-minded teachings, of the egalitarian views of Sri Sri Aniruddha Dev, that later, much later, the Motok community was able to rise up against the powerful Ahom monarchy. The first, as you all know, the first rebellion started in 1769, and it ended only in 1805, when their growing power was finally recognized by the Ahom kingdom, when a treaty was signed between Purnananda Puragohai and Horbananda Hingho, who was the first king of the Motok kingdom. So later they were also able to carve out a separate kingdom from the mighty and powerful Ahom monarchy. So they were successful in doing that only because of the teachings of Sri Sri Aniruddha Dev, which kept them united. Okay, so that is the way to approach this answer. Now going to the next question from this part. Now, this is a question which is related to Assam art and culture. This is a question which is related to Assam art and culture. Discuss the journey of the Hotra architecture of Assam with special reference to the Hotras of Majuli. Okay, with special reference to the Hotras of Majuli. Now, see, discuss the journey of the Hotra architecture in Assam. See, Hotras, it is said that, or it is believed that Hotra architecture started from the time of Mahapurush Srimanta Dev itself, but the Hotra, it is said that the first Hotra was built. Okay, the first Hotra was built under the direction of Mahapurush Srimanta Dev in Botodrava. Okay, in Bordua. So which is a part of Nagaon now. So that's how the Hotra architecture began. Now why did he construct? And it is the scholars also say that this structure, which was constructed under the orders of Mahapurush Srimanta Dev, it was a very simple structure. He just built a kirtan ghar. So that people could come to that ghar, or so that people could come to that particular that particular structure and take the name of Hari, jot teoloke nam prasanga koribo pare. So with that only purpose, he built a particular structure where people could assemble. Okay, where people could assemble and take the name of Hari. Always keep one thing in mind, forming assemblies, or what we call congregational worship, that is worshipping in a group, is one important feature of Ekoharan Nam Dharma. Okay, it pays special attention to this feature. So anyway, so that's how Hotra architecture is believed to have started in Assam. And so after the death of Mahapurush Srimanta Dev, Hotra architecture in Assam was given a real foundation. Okay, was given a real foundation by Sri Sri Madhav Dev and Sri Sri Damodar Dev. These two individuals played a very, very important role. These two great personalities played a very important role in giving the Hotra architecture a solid foundation. Okay, a solid foundation. Now, and gradually several things were added to Hotra architecture to make the Hotras look even more beautiful and appealing. For example, the most important features of the Hotra architecture include, the gateway, or which is known as Batsora. So a Batsora has to be there, it's the gateway. Apart from that, you will see that the most important features in a Hotra are, number one, Kirtan Ghar. Like I said, Kirtan Ghar is that place where devotees assemble to take the name of Hari. So Kirtan Ghar, generally that particular Kirtan Ghar is surrounded by residential quarters known as Hatis. These are the same residential quarters where the Hotradhikars and their deputies, who are known as Deka Hotradhikars, they live in these Hatis. And apart from these two features, the most important part of a hotra, the most important part of a hotra is monikut. Okay, monikut is that part. Monikut is that part of a hotra where where you will find the structure by the name of Guru Akhon, and on very top of Guru Akhon you will find the sacred book. Okay, you will find the most important or the sacred book of Ekohoron Nam Dharma, that is Bhagavad Puran, being kept right on top of Guru Akhon. Now this Guru Akhon is normally a 7-tier wooden structure, and you will get to see a lot of motif and design on this particular Guru Akhon. The most important design, you will get to see 3 animals. Right at the bottom, okay, right at the bottom you will see right at the bottom you will see tortoise. Okay, right at the bottom you will see tortoise, which is surmounted by elephant. Okay, which is surmounted by elephant, and elephant is surmounted by lion. And see the tortoise. Now what is the rationale of using these 3 creatures? Tortoise symbolizes the fact that the earth, okay, it is believed that the world is tortoises, it's a belief, it's a religious belief that the burden of the world is being carried on. Okay, the burden of the world is being shouldered by whom? The burden of the world is being shouldered by tortoises. Okay, so that is what tortoise means. Okay, that is what tortoise means. And right on top of the tortoise you will get to see elephant. Elephant here has a negative connotation. It indicates the accumulation of sins by human beings. Okay, elephant means what? Accumulation of sins. Okay, accumulation of sins being committed by human beings in their lives. And lion means what? Lion has a positive connotation. Lion means victory of good over evil. Evil in this case is the elephant, and since lion has been placed on top of the elephant, it represents victory over evil. So this much you have to write in hotra architecture. And if you talk about the hotras of Majuli, you just need to write about the most important hotras of Majuli. For example, Auniati Hotra, Gormur Hotra, Kamalabari Hotra. You can also write about the famous mask making tradition of Majuli, which has a very deep connection with one of the hotras of Majuli. Okay, and Majuli, you can also write the fact that Majuli as a place has been important in the Neo-Vaishnavite religion right from the time of Mahapurush Srimanta Dev, because it is believed that it was at Majuli where Mahapurush Srimanta Dev met Sri Madhav Dev, and that is one of the most important events. Okay, that is one of the most important events in the religious history of the Ekohoron Nam Dharma, when the 2 greatest personalities of this particular Neo-Vaishnavite religion met for the very first time. Okay, so let's go to the next question. So write notes on any one of the following towering personalities of Assam. Okay, it is from some of the topmost personalities of Assam. So Lokinath Bezbarwa. Okay, all of us know about Lokinath Bezbarwa. This was a very simple question. Lokinath Bezbarwa was a polymath. He was not just a writer. He was a writer, and he was a multi-talented person, and his expertise lay where? His expertise lay in writing short stories, as we know. Okay, Buri Air Hadhu. Okay, his epic collection of short stories. Okay, so short stories was his forte. Short stories was his forte, and you could always find a sense of humor in his works, because of which he earned the title of Rakharaz. He is one of the most iconic Assamese poets. Okay, Lokinath Bezbarwa is one of the most iconic Assamese storytellers. He is one of the most iconic storytellers of Assam. Lokinath Bezbarwa. Bodofa Upendranath Brahma. He plays a very he is very important. If you go to places like Kukrajhar, you will get to see his statues. So Bodofa Upendranath Brahma has played. He was a former member. Now he is, obviously now he is no more. He was a former member of Apsc, okay, All Borough Students Union, and he played a very important role. He played a very important role in the, he demanded, while he was alive, he used to demand for the formation of a separate territory by the name of BTR, okay, which today is known as BTR. So in that way also he played a very important role, and today, although he was not alive to see this, but today it has become a reality. Okay, the BTR region enjoys a lot of autonomy. On top of that, he also played a very important role in getting the Boro language recognized. Today Boro is a recognized language. Okay, it is being recognized by the Indian Constitution, the Boro language. So he played a very important role in getting the language recognized. So Upendranath Brahma, so posthumously, after his death, posthumously he earned the title of Bodofa. The word Bodofa means what? Guardian of the Boros. Okay, guardian of the Boros. Then Azan Pir, he is also a very famous historical figure. So Azan Pir he is basically the most famous Sufi saint. He is basically the most famous Sufi saint of Assam, and he came to Assam, he came to Assam to spread the teachings of Islam during the reign of Pratap Singh. And Ahoms have always been liberal, Ahoms have always had a liberal religious policy, barring a few exceptions, they have always followed a religious liberal policy. So because of that religious liberal policy, Azan Pir was able to spread his teachings, he was able to propagate his teachings. And although it is said that initially he got himself settled in some part of Lower Assam. So finally he got settled. He was not from India. He came from Western Asia, and he finally got settled in Sibsagar. He finally got settled in the place which we now call Sibsagar, and he was able to now Azan Pir. Now, what is the greatest contribution of Azan Pir? The greatest contribution of Azan Pir is the composition of devotional songs known as zikirs and zaris. It's the composition of devotional music and songs known as zikirs and zaris. And if you listen to the zikirs and zaris, or especially zikirs, you will see that there is a lot of similarity between zikir and borgit. Why? Because when Azan Pir came to Assam, when Azan Pir came to Assam, he came to Assam in the 17th century CE. So by that time, Mahapurush Srimanta Dev was already a very, very famous personality. He was already a very famous personality, although he was no longer alive, but his teachings were being followed by the people of Assam with a lot of gusto and excitement. So when Azan Pir came to know about, the Borgit, he too thought of coming up with something which would be similar to Borgit, which would make which would make people understand his teachings. Which would make people understand his teachings. Which would make people understand his teachings in an easier way. Which would make it easier for the people to understand what he is trying to preach. Because Mahapurush Srimanta Dev also came up with Borgit. He came up with Borgit for the same objective. He came up with Borgit for the same purpose. And what was the purpose? To make things easier for the people to understand, so that people can understand his teachings in a better way. That was the overall objective. So Azan Pir took inspiration from Mahapurush Srimanta Dev's Borgits and came up with his original composition known as Zikir. Known as Zikir. So Azan Pir, so that is Azan Pir. You can also talk about the famous Azan Pir Dorga. So it is said that Pratap Singh finally let him settle down on the banks of the Dikho river. Horaguri Sapori is the place. So where you will get to see the Dorga of Azan Pir, which attracts a lot of devotees across all religions. And in Guwahati we have also a road named after Azan Pir. And the government of Assam has also promised that it is considering building a museum of Azan Pir as well. So let's move to the next question. Give an account of the early history of Kamrup in the light of the account of Huen Sang. Now we all know about Huen Sang. Huen Sang came to Kamrup during the reign of Kumar Bhaskar Burman. And Huen Sang, when he stayed in Assam for around 2 or 3 months, he observed a lot of things, and all those things were recorded in his work. okay, which he composed or which he wrote after going back to China, and that particular work of Yuan Sang is known as Si Yu Ki, which was composed by him when China was under the rule of a dynasty by the name of Tang dynasty. And it is in that particular work that Yuan Sang has talked at length about Kamrup. Now those those things are very, very important because they help us reconstruct that phase of ancient Assam. And during that time ancient Assam was known as Kamrup. Now see, and who was Yuan Sang? So Yuan Sang was a very famous Buddhist monk whose intention was not to come to Kamrup, but whose original intention was to come to Nalanda University to know more about, to enhance his spiritual side. So while he was at Nalanda University, so Kumar Bhaskar Varman came to know about him, and he invited Yuan Sang to Kamrup, and he finally came to Kamrup. Now, in this particular book, Siyuki, what are the most important things that we come to know from this particular work of Yuan Sang? We come to know that Yuan Sang talks about the fact that he says that he talks about the fact that there was almost no Buddhism in Kamrup at that point in time. He says that he came across no one who was a follower of Lord Buddha. So he's trying to say that Buddhism did not exist in Kamrup when he visited Kamrup. So this is the first important thing that we come to know. He says that people worship only devas. Okay, people worship only devas. The second important thing that he talks about is, he says that the people here, okay, the people here usually grow. He talks about two special things. The one is jackfruit, the other is coconut, kothal aru narikol. He says that people here grow these two things in abundant quantity. They grow these two things in abundant quantity. He talks about what? Jackfruit and coconut. And then he also talks about the physical features of the people of Kamrup. He says that people of Kamrup have a blunt nose. Their noses are not that sharp, and they have a yellowish color. Okay, their skin is yellowish, and their height is also not that great. Okay, they are of a shorter height. Okay, they are of a shorter height. At the same time, he makes a very important observation. He says that people of Kamrup, they are very keen to learn new things. Okay, he says that they are very keen to learn new things. Now this is a very important observation. Okay, he says that people of Kamrup are keen to learn new things. They are very curious. Okay, they are very curious to learn new things. And his observation regarding Kumar Bhaskar Varman is also considered very, very important. He says that he refers to Kumar Bhaskar Varman, he calls him the king of Eastern India. He calls him the king of Eastern India. Now why this title is important? This title is important because it establishes Kumar Bhaskar Varman as the most important king of Eastern India. And Eastern India at that point in time includes Bengal also. And we know that Kumar Bhaskar Varman had conquered northern Bengal, which is known as Pundravardhan Bhukti. Okay, we know that. We know that Kumar Bhaskar Varman also defeated Shashank and conquered his capital by the name of Karna Subarna. Okay, his capital, Shashank's capital, was known as Goda or Karna Subarna, which was also conquered by Kumar Bhaskar Varman. Okay, with the help of another great ruler of India by the name of Harshavardhana. So all that is known. So all these things give us useful information regarding this phase of Assam history. Then moving on to the next question. The imposing and marvelous Moidams of Assam have often been compared with the pyramids of Egypt. In this backdrop, discuss the salient features of the Moidam architecture of Assam. You need to begin the answer with what Moidams are. See, Moidams are a part of the traditional beliefs of Ahoms. They are a part of the traditional beliefs of Ahoms. Because as per the traditional beliefs of the Ahom tribe, they used to believe in ancestor worship. And Moidams are just a reflection of that belief of the Ahoms. Okay, which belief? Belief in ancestor worship. They used to, as per the traditional beliefs of the Ahom community, they used to believe or they used to worship their ancestors. Okay, they used to worship their ancestors who were known as Dam. Okay, Dam meant what? Dam meant ancestors. If you look at the word May Dam May Fi, which is one of the most important festivals of the Thai Ahom community of Assam, May Dam May Fi. The word Dam here means what? Immediate ancestors who have died, and Fi means God. Okay, May Dam, so they worship their ancestors as well as the ultimate God. And this has been a very important or very integral part of the traditional beliefs of the Thai Ahom community. Now, see, so in this particular question, you need to talk about the salient features of the Moidam architecture. So, Moidams were basically what? Moidams are basically the burial grounds. Okay, Moidams were basically the burial grounds of the of the people of the Ahom community. Okay, this question is very, very important because if things go, if things go well, or if things fall in place, okay, if things fall into place, very soon the Soraido Moidams will be getting the recognition of being what? They will soon earn the recognition of being an UNESCO World Heritage Site. That means a lot if things go well. Okay, so this question can be asked. Okay, this question can be asked in the upcoming APSC mains. Okay, what are Moidams, or they might even ask a question on Moidam architecture. So you have to know, what did I say? Moidams were the burial grounds of the of the Thai Ahom people. Okay, of the Thai Ahom people. And out of all the Moidams that you will see in Assam, the most important Moidams are located in the Soraido district. Why? Because those were the royal Moidams. Okay, royal Moidams were different from the ordinary Moidams in terms of size and grandeur. Because royal Moidams consisted of the burial, they are basically the burial grounds of the Ahom kings, queens, and some of the important members of the nobility. And of course, also the princes. Okay, also the princes. So now, if you talk about the most important features of the Moidam architecture, now what used to be done once? So let's take the example of an Ahom king. So once an Ahom king died, first his body, after performing all the rituals, finally his body was put in a coffin. Okay, finally his body was put in a coffin which was known as Rungdang. The body of the dead Ahom king was first put in a coffin by the name of Rungdang. Then that particular Rungdang was placed inside a vault. Okay, it was placed inside a huge vault which was known as Kareng Rungdang. That vault was known as Kareng Rungdang. And after having placed that coffin inside that vault, an earthen mound was built on top of that vault. An earthen mound was also built on top of that vault. Now these were the most important features of the Moidam architecture. Okay, these were then another important part by the name of Sao Sali was also built. Now these were some of the most important features of Moidam architecture. You can also write, okay, you can also add that along with the dead body of the Ahom king, all the day-to-day requirements of the Ahom king were also buried. All the day-to-day requirements include material possessions. For example, all the utensils which were used by the king when he was alive, and all the valuable possessions of the king were also buried along with the dead body of the king. And you guys won't believe, you can also add this in answer, that special officers, there were also special officers who were put in charge or who were given the responsibility to take care of the Moidams. Like for example, we get to hear of special officers by the name of Sangrung Phukon. They have their own records which today are very, very famous as Sangrung Phukon or Buronzi, which also give us a lot of information regarding the Ahom rule. Okay, so Sangrung Phukon, who were Sangrung Phukon? They were in charge of the overall maintenance of the Moidams. Then we also get to hear of other officers by the name of Moidamias, and also there was a special officer by the name of Moidam Phukon. Okay, so these were special officers who were given the responsibility to take care of the Moidams. Okay, and the royal Moidams were usually bigger in size than the other Moidams. Okay, so this much you have to write in this particular answer. Now, moving ahead. See, examine the role of the Ahom monarchs as the patronizers of art, literature, and architecture. Now, here you can write a lot of things. Okay, here you can write a lot of things. You have to basically write about the contributions of Ahom kings in the promotion of art, literature, and architecture. Now, if you talk about art, then the biggest contribution of Ahom kings to art would be, you definitely can talk about the Bihu dance. Okay, what did they do? They gave Bihu dance a formal structure. Who gave Bihu dance a formal structure? It was given by none other than Rudra Hingha, who invited Bihu dancers to perform where? Who invited Bihu dancers to perform on the Rupohi Pothar. What is Rupohi Pothar? That playground which is right in front of the legendary building known as Ronghor. Okay, so that's when the Bihu dance for the first time got a formal. That's how the Bihu dance, which is a very, very important part of Assam, it got a formal structure. Now, apart from it, if we talk about, if we talk about literature, okay, if we talk about literature, the Ahom rulers were patronizers of a wide variety of literature. Okay, they were patronizers of a wide variety of literature, and that body of literature included both religious works as well as secular works. And one of the most important secular works, okay, one of the most important secular works was, that particular work was composed during the reign of Hivohingha, and the name of that particular work is Hosti Vidyarnava. That is a book on elephants. Then there was another important work by the name of Ghora Nidan, although we do not know who was the author. Okay, we do not know, but that is also a work which is attributed to the Ahom period. Ghora Nidan, that is based on horses. Okay, and Hosti Vidyarnava was a book which was based on elephants. As we know that elephants as well as horses, they played a very important role. The Ahom kings used to have an elephantry wing as well as a cavalry wing, and both these things played a very, very important role. And during the Ahom period, a lot of Buddhist works were also being composed, because in some way the traditional beliefs of the Ahoms, it is believed, some scholars say that in some way the traditional beliefs of the Ahoms were also influenced. Okay, they were also influenced by the Theravada form of Buddhism. Okay, they were also influenced by the Theravada form of Buddhism, because of which you will get to see that a lot of Buddhist works were also composed during the Ahom reign. So all that can be put under literature. Okay, all that can be put under literature. And what else can be put under literature? You can obviously write about the Buronjis. That is the greatest contribution of the Ahoms to Assam. That is Buronjis. Okay, the literal meaning of the word Buronji is what? Storehouse of knowledge. Okay, Gyan or Bhandar, that was the literal meaning. And the tradition. So what was this tradition all about? The Ahoms, right from the very inception, right from the time of Sukafa, okay, right from the time of Saulung Sukafa, they began maintaining records of day-to-day activities, or they began to maintain records of the most important events happening during their lifetime. And that was continued till the very end. Okay, that was continued till the climax, okay, or till the downfall of the Ahom dynasty. Now those Buronjis give us an unbelievable amount of information regarding the Ahom rule. That is why we know so much about the Ahom rule. And the Buronjis do not just give us information about the Ahom dynasty, but they also give us information about certain neighboring kingdoms of Ahom. For example, Tripura, Manipur, okay, all these, like for example, Jayantia, okay, like for example, the Ahom Buronjis also give us some amount of information about the Sutiya dynasty, about the Kosari dynasty. So we come to know about all those things from Ahom Buronjis. That's how important Buronjis were. Okay, that's how important Buronjis are. So the greatest gift of the Thai Ahoms, okay, the greatest gift of the Thai Ahoms, who were earlier known as Thai Shans, okay, Thai Shans. The word Ahom itself, okay, the word Ahom itself is said to be a later day development, just like the word Assam. Okay, and the word Assam is believed to have come from the word Ahom, and the word Ahom is a later day development. They used to be known as Thai Shans. That was the original name, Thai Shans. So the greatest contribution of Thai Shans to Assam, in my opinion, is their sense of history. They knew how important it is to maintain or to record, to record activities, to maintain a proper record of activities, okay, for posterity. So all that can be put under literature. Then as far as architecture, see, architecture itself can be divided into various categories again. So there was secular architecture and there was religious architecture. Now if we talk about secular architecture, you can talk about what? You can talk about the palaces, okay, you can talk about structures like Ronghor, which is considered to be the biggest amphitheater of Asia. So which is considered, I'm so sorry, to be the oldest amphitheater of Asia. Then you can talk about palaces like Tolatal Ghor, okay, you can talk about Kareng Ghor. So all that will come under secular architecture, okay. And So you can also talk about the various forts, okay, about the various forts which were built by both Ahom kings and Ahom nobles. For example, we know of a fort by the name of Sintamani Fort. Okay, it was built by Aton Buragohai. Similarly, during the Battle of Horaigat and even before the Battle of Horaigat, right from 1667 CE onwards, when Lasit Borphukan was able to recapture Guwahati from the Mughals, right from that time onwards, or just before that, okay, from that time onwards itself, Guwahati or this particular place witnessed the construction of a lot of forts. Okay, thanks to Lasit Borphukan and Aton Buragohai, and especially during the Battle of Horaigat, these two great personalities of Assam, they built a lot of forts around Guwahati to protect Guwahati from the invasion of the Mughals. Okay, so those forts can also be mentioned under secular infrastructure. Then if you talk about religious infrastructure, you can write about so many temples. If you talk about the famous temples of Hivohagor, you can write about Hivodol, you can write about Joydol, you can write about Vishnudol, you can then if you talk about Guwahati itself is home to so many Ahom era temples. You can write about Umananda temple, you can write about Sukreshwar temple, you can write about Ugrotara temple. Okay, so all these temples were constructed. All these temples, you can also write about the Navagraha temple. All these temples were constructed during the Ahom era by Ahom kings. So all that can be put under architecture. And a very important development, took place in the realm of architecture during the reign of Rudrahingha. When Rudrahingha imported a very famous architect from Bengal by the name of Ghanoshyam Khonikar. Before that, it is said that brick work was not known in Assam. So from the time of the arrival of Ghanoshyam Khonikar, first of all, the Sivsagar town, it saw the development, it saw the beginning of brickwork. Okay, it saw the beginning of brickwork in Sivsagar. A lot of brick structures were being built, and if you go to Sivsagar, even today you will find a structure by the name of Ghanoshyam's house. Okay, so brick building became a very important part of Ahom infrastructure. Okay, from the time of Rudrahingha. So all these things, if you include all these things, they will make your answer. Just one second. So sorry for the inconvenience caused to you. So now let's move ahead with this question. See, compare the frontier policy of the Ahoms with that of the British. In what respects did the British policy differ from that of the Ahoms? See, always keep this thing in mind. The Ahoms, they never tried to interfere. They never tried to interfere with the tribes. Okay, there were many tribes. There were many tribal kingdoms which used to be neighbors of the Ahoms. For example, if you talk about the eastern part of the Ahom kingdom, there were many tribes. Okay, there were Singphos, there were Khamtis. Now, if you talk about various other parts of Ahom kingdoms, there were the Naga tribes, there were the Jayantias, there were the Khasis, there were the Garos. Okay, there were the Manipuris. So all these were tribes which were a very integral part. Okay, they used to live very close to the Ahom territories, and they used to both Ahoms and these tribes, they used to interact. They used to interact a lot. And as a policy, okay, the Ahoms, their policy was two-pronged. So unless and until they are being attacked by the tribes, okay, unless and until they are being attacked by the tribal groups, they did not interfere. So whenever they were attacked, obviously they had to retaliate, so they retaliated, but that was it. They retaliated, and whenever they used to retaliate, and after retaliating, they used to cut all their supplies. See, the tribal communities or the tribes living on the hills, they always faced, they always had a disadvantage, and they continue to have the disadvantage. That is, they are dependent on the plains. Okay, today or tomorrow, okay, sometime or the other, they have to come down the hills. So whenever things, whenever things went out of the hand, whenever they used to disturb the Ahoms a lot, so one simple solution was being adopted by the Ahoms. They used to cut, okay, they used to cut all their supplies. Okay, they did not allow them to come down the hills. So that made them surrender very soon. That was one policy. But other than that, they did not on themselves, or they did not on themselves, or they did not out of their own free will, they did not try to interfere with the tribal rights. Okay, they did not try to interfere with the tribal rights. And here you can also talk about the famous Posa system. Okay, you can also talk about the famous Posa system, which was started by Prataphingo. What was this Posa system? See, Posa system was a system, although this has been earlier discussed in one of my previous classes. Posa system was a system which was developed by Prataphingo in order to have a cordial relation with the hill tribes, because under this particular Posa system, the hill tribes, so if we are talking about a particular tribe living on top of a hill, so that particular tribe was allowed to collect taxes from the people, okay, from the people living on the living on the foothill of that particular hill. So the people who used to live, okay, the people who used to live down the hill, okay, and those people were a part of whom? Those people were a part, they were a part of those territories which used to be down the hill. Those territories, I'm now talking about the territories which are part of the plain areas. Those used to be parts of the Ahom territory. Okay, those were Ahom territory. So under the Posa system, the people living on top of the hills, they were not part of the Ahom territory. So from time to time, they used to come down the hills and they used to attack the people living in the plains, very close to the hills, who were a part of the Ahom kingdom. So who were subjects of the Ahom king. So Prataphingo came up with this solution by the name of Posa system, under which he gave the authority to the people, or he gave the authority to the king of the hill, or to a concerned person, to a person with authority. He gave the tribals the right to collect taxes from those people living down the hill, so that they do not attack. They do not attack those people, because often they used to come down the hills, they used to attack their fields. So in order to prevent those things from happening, he came up with this solution. Okay, Posa system. So you can well imagine, okay, you can well imagine how much amount of importance was paid by the Ahoms to what? To maintaining good relations with the tribals. On the contrary, the British policy was starkly opposite to the Ahom tribal policy. The Britishers, what did they do? The greatest damage, okay, one of the greatest damages being done by the Britishers in Assam was what? Was engineering a sense of mistrust, was developing a sense of mistrust between the people of the plains and people of the hills. And that particular development continues to haunt Assam and other parts of the northeast till today. Okay, and how did they do that? They introduced something known as what? Inner line regulation. So they were the ones who introduced inner line regulation in the 19th century CE, in the later part of the 19th century, under which people of the plains were not allowed. Okay, people of the plains were not allowed to enter the hilly areas. They could go only up to a certain point, after which they had to take permission. And that led to the isolation. That led to the isolation of those hilly areas. And that in its own turn led to a sense of mistrust. That is how, okay, it is from that time period that people of the tribal people began looking at the people living in the plains with eyes of suspicion, and vice versa. Okay, the plains also started looking at them with suspicion and disbelief. Okay, so the main culprit was the British. Before that, the people of the plains used to exchange ideas, they used to talk a lot, they used to interact. Okay, they used to interact. There was a lot of interaction going on between the people of the hills and people of the plains. Okay, before the arrival of the British. So this way you have to approach this particular question. See, discuss the non-cooperation movement and civil disobedience movement in Assam. What were the consequences of these movements on the administrative system of Assam? See, discuss the non-cooperation movement and civil disobedience movement. Now, non-cooperation movement, we all know, was the first mass movement launched under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi. Now, as part of it, now non-cooperation movement became a huge success. Okay, non-cooperation movement became a huge success, and it was, it was followed in Assam also. It was followed in Assam also, and Chandraprabha Hoikiani, she was a very important part of the non-cooperation movement, which was started in Assam as a part of which, because Gandhiji, he gave the call to what? He gave the call in this particular movement. Gandhiji gave the call to boycott colleges, to boycott institutions. And Gandhiji also gave a call to what? To leave certain jobs. For example, in response to his call, a lot of lawyers left their jobs, and same things happened in Assam also. Okay, same things happened in Assam also. Institutions, a lot of students, they left their studies. Okay, they started boycotting the, they started boycotting the colonial structures. They started boycotting their colleges and institutions, which also led to the development of indigenous institutions, which also led to the development, because Gandhiji, when Gandhiji saw that a lot of students are leaving their studies midway in response to my call, so it is my responsibility to make sure that they do not suffer in terms of education. So that is how, okay, that is how the tradition of local or indigenous institutions got started in various parts of India as well as in Assam. So that was all about the non-cooperation movement. Okay, non-cooperation movement was also a success in Assam. Then, if you talk about the civil disobedience movement, now the key figures of civil disobedience movement in Assam were Ambika Giri, Rai Chaudhary. Then there were also people like Dayyabulla. Okay, these people, they played a very, very important role. Okay, these people, they played a very, very important role in spreading. Okay, in spreading, for example, during the course of the civil disobedience movement. Okay, during the course of the civil disobedience movement in Assam, okay, in Assam, forest laws were broken. Okay, forest laws, because civil disobedience movement was a pan-India movement, and different parts of India saw different things. Different parts of India, so some parts of India saw what? Saw violation of forest laws. What was forest laws? Forest laws again were those laws, these were colonial laws which did not allow which did not allow the tribal people to collect their produce from forest, a thing which has been doing by them since time immemorial. So as part of this, Gandhiji once again gave the call to violate these insensible forest laws. So Assam also saw the violation of forest laws. Okay, Assam, see, then again there were certain parts of India which saw the violation of salt law. So since Assam does not have any sea, so salt is, salt, I mean, salt is derived from oceanic water. So there was no question of the violation of salt law. So in Assam we saw what? In Assam we saw the violation of what? In Assam we saw the violation of forest laws. As we know, Assam is full of forests. So we saw that. Okay, we saw that. And it led to a lot of administrative changes also. So all this can be found in this particular PDF file, which will be shared with you, with all of you. See, Assamese society is primarily agrarian. In this context, give a brief account of the most important agriculture-based festivals and folk dances of Assam. Okay, this one again was a very easy question. Now, for example, the most important festival as well as dance is Bihu. Okay, and Bihu, as we all know, Bihu can broadly be divided into three. There are three types of Bihu. Okay, broadly, each of these categories has its subcategories, but I am saying broadly, Bihu can be divided into three kinds. Okay, one is Bohag Bihu, the other is Kati Bihu, and the third is what? The third is Mag Bihu. And Bihu is an what? It is a festival which is based on which is based on agriculture. It's an agricultural festival. Okay, it's an agricultural festival. So Bihu. Okay, all of us know about Bihu. So Bihu will come under here. Similarly, the Mishing community. Okay, the Mishing tribe have their own harvesting festival by the name of Ali I Rigang. Okay, the Mishing community. Okay, similarly, the Boros have their own way of celebrating. Okay, the Boros have their own way of celebrating. They have their own agricultural festivals. Okay, we also know of festivals like Baiko. Okay, Baiko is a festival which is being observed by whom? Which is being observed by the Rabha community of Assam. Okay, which is being observed by the Rabha community of Assam. So all these festivals need to be included in this particular list. So similarly, Bihu dance, okay, Bihu dance, for example, the Bihu dance, which is a very important feature of Bohag Bihu, okay, Bihu dance, which is a very important feature of Bohag Bihu, which happens in the month of April, and which signifies what? Which indicates the Assamese New Year. Okay, Bohag Bihu indicates what? The Assamese New Year. And Bohag Bihu, it is because of this. Okay, it is because of this Bohag Bihu is also known as Rongali Bihu. So it is what? It is the it is the harvesting season, and it is when Assam is at its best. So it is at this time that Bihu dance, you will get to see Bihu dance in full swing. So basically the dancers who are dancing Bihu, they're welcoming the harvesting season, they're welcoming the new year. Okay, they are welcoming the new year. That is our way of welcoming the Assamese New Year. Okay, so all those things can be put under Bihu. And here you can also talk about a Fat Bihu, which is a very important part, and and Fat Bihu happens, and Fat Bihu has been in continuance ever since. Fat Bihu has been in continuance ever since Dhemaji was known as Habung, and it happens at the same place today. So these were the questions. So there were in total 9 questions. All the questions have been discussed, and trust me, most of these questions have already been discussed in the class, as well as I have talked about the answers to these questions in the in the free YouTube sessions. Okay, in the free YouTube sessions that have been launched by CSAP or CSAP. Okay, so you can also go through those videos of mine to get more clarity regarding these topics. Okay, and I wish you all and I wish you all the very best. I know you guys will do good, and if you have any doubts, please get in touch with us. Okay, you can always get in touch with us, and all you have to do is you can visit our website. You can visit our website csap.co.in. okay, you can visit our website csap.co.in, or you can also scan the QR code. Or in case of any queries, you can also directly get in touch with us by giving us a phone call at 912-751-5541. 912-751-5541. We are always at your assistance. On that note, I am ending this today's session. Thank you so much. Okay, all the very best.